End-of-life planning is typically something that we tend to ignore or just don't want to talk about. Many have said they only want to go to a funeral home once. However, studies have shown that pre-funding one's funeral is financially beneficial and offers peace of mind. Today, over 93% of seniors do not have long-term care insurance. If you were to enter a nursing home prior to death, which many of us will, nursing homes can cost upwards to $10,000 or more per month. And one of the number one concerns among seniors today is, will there be enough funds to take care of my funeral? Many seniors today don't understand that if they enter a nursing home and spend their life savings on the cost of the nursing home, once all of their assets are exhausted down to $2,000, then they can apply for Medicaid, which will then cover the cost of the nursing home stay. The problem at this point is quite simple. If there's only $2,000 remaining, that's not enough for a funeral. Even life insurance is counted as an asset if the cash value exceeds $1,500. We feel that the pre-funded funeral trust is the answer because it's Medicaid exempt. Therefore, if you put $15,000 into a funeral trust, you know that it's Medicaid exempt in most states and that you'll have the peace of mind knowing the funds will be there when they are needed most. The $15,000 in the funeral trust does not count as an asset that must be spent down on the nursing home, and the funeral trust is not subject to the 5-year Medicaid look-back. Today we're going to share with you how the funeral trust works and how beneficial it is to your estate planning. Take the burden off your loved ones from making difficult monetary decisions during a stressful time of a personal loss and grief. The American Association of Retired Persons says, quote, "Advanced funeral planning gives you the peace of mind that comes with knowing your funeral arrangements are taken care of while lessening the burden of your survivors," unquote. I'm sure you're asking, what is an irrevocable funeral trust? Quite simply, an irrevocable funeral trust is a way for you to start funding your funeral today without having to go down to the funeral home. The irrevocable funeral trust is a guaranteed issue, whole life policy that is assigned irrevocably to the funeral trust with no additional setup fees. The trust has already been established by the insurance company. Because it is irrevocably assigned, the funeral trust is designed to be Medicaid exempt should a nursing home or Medicaid ever become an issue. By having an irrevocable funeral trust, you have the peace of mind knowing that your money will always be there to pay for your burial and final expenses. Why is a funeral trust better for you? Having an irrevocable funeral trust will give you safety and security, knowing that you can be 100% certain that all the monies placed into the trust will always be protected and always be available when needed to pay for your final expenses. With the irrevocable funeral trust, you have the portability to go to any funeral home of your choosing, and you aren't locked into a specific funeral home should they go out of business, or the ownership change, or even if you move later in life. The funds in the irrevocable funeral trust are instantly available at the time of need, and they're paid directly to the funeral home you choose to use within 48 hours of claim. The irrevocable funeral trust does not need a death certificate to pay the funeral home. What happens if you were to become confined to a nursing home or a long-term care facility later in life? With nursing home costs skyrocketing these days from $7,000 to $10,000 a month or more, all your hard-earned assets could be depleted. Once you've spent down all of your assets to $2,000, you will then be able to apply for Medicaid, and any money saved for your funeral will be gone, unless it was in an irrevocable funeral trust. If you're in a nursing home and need to apply for Medicaid, any life insurance with a cash value over $1,500 can be considered an asset and would need to be cashed in and spent down before you can apply for Medicaid. How can you fund an irrevocable funeral trust to work to protect your assets? Well, you're able to fund a funeral trust up to $15,000. These funds are 100% protected from a Medicaid spend-down. They'll always be safe and secure. Any money remaining after the funeral expenses are paid will be returned to the estate of the insured and could be used to pay for flights, hotels, meals for loved ones that may be traveling to the funeral. The Irrevocable Funeral Trust addresses all the issues. The funeral trust is the only way to fund your funeral, where it is 1. Protected from lawsuits, 2. Protected from creditors, 3. Protected from taxes, 4. Protected from the Medicaid spend down, 5. Probate free, 6. Portable to any funeral home of your choosing, and 7. Protected from forced assignment. As you can see, the Funeral Trust offers the best solution when pre-planning your funeral funding. The Irrevocable Funeral Trust is the only way to protect your assets and funeral funding needs. You'll have the peace of mind knowing that your loved ones will never have to worry about finances during a difficult time. The financial advisor showing this DVD presentation will be glad to answer any additional questions on the Irrevocable Funeral Trust and help you get started. The financial advisor will also provide and help with any forms needed to establish your funeral trust.